Good afternoon and welcome to Locally Hated Podcast. I'm your host, the news lady, Jessica Herring. I got Greg Lord with me as always and the legend himself, Mr. Ralph McRae. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
So for those of you that don't know, Ralph McRae, Ralph, are you a lifelong resident of Vernon Parish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you were born here?
No. My father was in the military during World War II, and I was born at Eglin Air Force Base. But yes, I am. Other than that, yes, I'm a lifelong resident.
Okay. So when did
Fifth generation, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you're from the McRaes that are from here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how did you get, at what age did you get here?
Well, I was born in Eglin, but as soon as the war was over and my father got out of the military, then we moved back to Leesville.
Okay.
I was born in 44. War was over in 45. So
Okay. So
I was 1 or 2 years old.
Okay.
Where's Eglin again?
Eglin's in Florida.
Okay.
Oh, you're a Floridian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born in Florida. Yeah.
I'm a Texan, so don't feel bad. Greg, were you born here?
Yeah. Well, yeah. At Cabrini.
Yeah, I was born in Texas.
I'm like, well, I guess technically Alexandria, but
Yeah. Well, I was only born in Texas because now my whole family's from here. My grandmother's mother was a McRae.
Oh, really?
Dora.
Yeah.
That was my great grandmother.
Really?
So she wasn't a McRae. She married a McRae. But we were all from here. But my grandpa owned a business over in Houston, and my dad worked for him, and that's how I ended up being born in Texas. But we moved here we moved back home when I was 2. So
okay.
Yeah, I was about 1 or 2. My father didn't serve overseas, so he didn't have a lot of points. And, they discharged the soldiers after World War II on points. The ones that were in combat a lot got discharged first. And the ones that didn't had to stay and turn the lights out. And so Daddy was in that group.
Okay. So did he get drafted in, or did he sign up?
No, he hated every minute of it.
Yeah, I was going to say. So he only stayed for the draft amount and then got out?
No, in World War II, he was drafted for the duration.
For the duration. Okay. But then he didn't continue to serve?
No.
After
got out
that.
First day he could.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was a lot of them that did. They just got out as soon as they could.
Daddy was the captain. And the thing is, had he stayed, he couldn't have stayed a captain. They would have reduced him because they went from, I can't remember, like 3 to 5 million men in uniform. They went back to almost nothing. So
Yeah.
he probably couldn't have stayed. But he didn't want to, so it didn't matter.
So do you know what he did in the army, like in the World War II? Like what branch was he in? What did he do?
Yeah. He was in the Army Air Corps, and he spent the whole war at Eglin Field, Florida, which was a proving ground. And he was a range officer. He maintained the ranges, was in charge of maintaining the gunnery ranges, both on land and not in the water. Had a lot of them in the water. And he was in charge of when they do their gunnery practice and destroy their targets, he'd go out and rebuild them.
Oh, okay.
That's what he did for the whole war. But told me he did a lot of crabbing.
So, so then you come back here to Vernon Parish.
Yes.
So what school did you go to?
I went to Leesville School.
Okay. So you grew up, you're a Wampus cat.
Yes.
Okay. And then you graduate from Leesville High School. And did you play any sports in high school or? I
tried, Jessica. I have no ability to play sports whatsoever. I tried a couple of times. I tried to play football, and they made me an end, and the coaches ran me off, said you couldn't catch a football in a basket. So, which that was a blessing in disguise, because some of the guys my age that did play football walk like crabs now. So I'm glad
Yeah, you probably dodged a bullet there.
I dodged a bullet there.
Okay, so then you graduate, and did you sign up for the war, or did?
Well, I graduated from Leesville High School in 1962, and went to LSU.
What'd you go to LSU for?
I was going to be an engineer.
Really?
That was my plan, and somehow I don't really know how all that happened, but I wound up on academic probation. The first semester.
So your grades weren't very good.
My grades weren't very good. Well, what I didn't realize is I've lived in a dormitory. And every night, somebody wanted to go out partying. So I'd go. Well, it didn't dawn on me till way later that it wasn't the same guys every night. They were studying sometimes.
Yeah.
And going out occasionally.
Occasionally.
But I was going every night.
You were hitting the Venn diagram of everybody that asking you to go. Huh?
He didn't say no.
And as a comparison of the two schools, I transferred to Northwestern. I graduated with honors. And a lot of my courses didn't even buy books. So that tells you the difference in the quality of the two schools.
Oh, okay.
It's a fact.
So you transferred from LSU to NSU?
Northwestern after one semester.
And then what were you going to do at NSU?
Well, when I got to NSU, I looked through the catalog, and there were only 2 curriculums that did not require any foreign language, which I have no aptitude for, and only 2 semesters of English. And they were electronic technology and agriculture, or forestry, I think. So I chose electronic technology.
And did you graduate before you went to Vietnam, or?
Yes, I graduated from Northwestern in 1966. I was very active in ROTC. I was designated a distinguished military graduate, and therefore was offered a commission in the regular Army, not as reservist. And I took my regular Army commission and went immediately.
So you didn't get drafted. You signed up.
No. Well, I
Okay.
didn't sign up. I guess you'd say I did.
Okay. But it wasn't a draft, though.
No.
Okay. So then you go into the military, and how does that go after that?
Well, I was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division, and as a brand new lieutenant, I had to go to the officers' basic course at Fort Benning. Infantry. I was commissioned in the infantry. Infantry officers' basic course at Fort Benning, and since 82nd was an airborne unit, I immediately went to airborne school, and then went to the 82nd.
Okay.
Regular Army officers were required to spend 1 year in a stateside troop unit before they could be deployed to Vietnam. Whereas reservists, most of them went straight to Vietnam.
So when you joined, did you have any interest in aviation?
No.
No. That's something that came on later.
Wait, so what did they teach for electronic technology back then? Like, what was it?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question. I didn't even think about that.
Because you could say I'm into electronic technology today.
Well, it's
So I'm
not,
curious.
as they say, it's not the same.
Yeah, I figured not.
We had, you know what vacuum tubes are, right?
Yep.
The curriculum, in my situation, I went into it because I had a knack for it and it was easy. Like I say, no foreign language and only 2 semesters of English. I never intended to work in it at all. All I ever wanted to do was be a infantry officer in the Army. That was my goal.
Oh, okay.
That's all I ever wanted to do.
Infantry.
Yeah.
Okay. So you went into it knowing that you weren't going to like pursue that field.
Oh yeah, but to answer your question, there was a defense contractor in New Orleans. I think it was acronym was MISU, that built some kind of boosters for Saturn rocket programs back then, and there was a big Western Electric plant in Shreveport. I don't know what they did because I never followed it, but most of the graduates went to one of those 2 places.
Okay. And this was pre-transistor by like...
Oh, yeah. Well, my last
Not too
semester...
long, really,
Right at the transition.
Right.
My last semester, there was a transistor course, one transistor course. Well, I had a complete schematic diagram of a television in one of my courses to graduate, and it was all vacuum tubes.
Was there any computers?
Well...
They had computers but no.
See,
not
the
really.
transistor is what miniaturized, is what goes on a CPU die now. And it used to be vacuum tubes to do on and off for binary. So if you can imagine the difference between the size of a big vacuum tube versus...
There was a computer in Northwestern that wouldn't fit in this room.
Yeah.
And they had punch cards and all that. But anyway, the last semester I had a course in transistors. And the instructor said, I don't know anything about them. Here's a book, study it.
You know, it was so new. I mean,
That was about it. Yeah.
So, okay, so you went into the military and you got put at Fort Benning.
Yeah, Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg.
I went to Fort Benning for training, but
Okay.
my 82nd Airborne Division was stationed at Fort Bragg.
Well, how did you end up in airborne if you didn't have a desire to be an airborne? Is that where you like tested
Airborne is
at?
paratroopers. That's nothing to do with flying.
Oh, okay, okay. So
was a
you were a paratrooper?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So how did you get?
I was a Pathfinder platoon leader for the whole division.
he said, I want to stop jumping out of these things, start flying them.
No, that's not true. Okay. Okay, back up. There's was and is now a program called ROTC Flight Training, where ROTC students in universities take flight training from a civilian flight school paid for by the Army. And my senior year at Northwestern, they were trying to start an ROTC flight training program. And the minimum number to have was 5. And there was only 5 cadets, me being one, that passed the written exam and the physical. So they put it to me that if you don't join the program, we can't have it.
So you just kind of got suckered into
So
it.
I said, okay, what the heck? So what?
Okay,
so
so
I
that's
did.
how you become a pilot.
I got my private license then, yes.
Okay.
I never intended, that was it. But because while I was at the 82nd, I was required to spend 1 year in the 82nd before I could do anything. Towards the end of that year, I started getting calls from infantry branch. Everything then was controlled by branches. I don't think it is now, but I don't know. Anyway, it was then. And because I had ROTC flight training, they kept trying to get me to go to flight school in the Army. And I didn't want to. Turned it down numerous times. And Valentine's Day, ironically, Valentine's Day of 1967, my battalion parachuted into Fort Stewart, Georgia for a tactical operation, a tactical maneuver, war games. And we stayed down there a week in February. And it rained every single day. And Fort Stewart, as you can imagine, is kind of low and swampy. And I spent at least one night laying over a log to stay out of the water.
Wow.
And Fort Stewart at that time was the home of primary Army fixed-wing flight school. So I laid out there every day watching those T-41s touch and goes. And it kind of dawned on me that
They weren't laying on a log?
they weren't laying on the log. So when I got back and the next time they called, I said I will go only if I get fixed wing. I didn't not want to fly helicopters. I probably wouldn't be here if I did. And I had to wait a month, I think, but I went to fixed wing flight school.
Okay, so where was the flight school at?
The first half of it was back at Fort Stewart, and the second half was at Fort Rucker.
Okay, so at what point did you get married in amongst all this?
I got married when I was a sophomore in college.
Okay, so that was when you got married, and then you had kids by this time.
Dang, I'd have studied if I'd known you were going to ask me that. Yes, my son Mark was born when we were in college at Northwestern. My wife Dottie at the time, Dottie McCormick, we were in the same, graduated together. We're the same.
Was she from here?
Yes.
Okay.
And Mark was born in 64. Yes. When I went in the Army, Mark was the only child we had.
Okay.
And then Marcy, my daughter Marcy, was born while I was in the Army. And my daughter Millie was born after I got out of the Army.
Okay. All right. So you went to the flight school, did your flight school, and at that point, did you go into Vietnam?
Did not pass go, did not collect $200
Man, they sent you directly?
directly.
Okay, so so for those of people that may not know, because I'm about to use the word bird dog. Okay, so bird dog is a type of aircraft that was used in Vietnam. That's correct. Okay.
Yes.
Is that the actual name of it or?
That's what the Army called it, yeah.
Okay. So were you directly assigned to a bird dog or was there any other kind of stuff in between?
Well, that's one of the things I was always kind of bitter about. The Air Force and the Navy flight schools, your choice of aircraft is highly dependent on your standing in the class.
Yes. They select you to the aircraft.
In other words, the top, they ask you, what do you want to fly? Well, the top guy gets his choice. And then the next thing, the bottom guy gets what's left.
Right.
Okay. I was second in my class in flight school. Had no choice whatsoever. I was assigned, I was predestined to that before we even went to flight school. And I did not know it. Had I known it, I probably wouldn't have gone. But because I was infantry and because I was regular Army, they wanted us in bird dogs because we work so closely with the ground units.
Yes. Okay. So kind of explain the significance of a bird dog. Because they played an integral role in Vietnam.
It's like a bush plane, right? It's like super short field takeoff and landing. Is that
shorter than most airplanes, but that wasn't really
not as short as a
low
bush
and
plane?
slow.
Okay.
Okay, the bird dog was brought into the Army in the 50s. It was for the Korean War. It was built for the Korean War. It was the first all-metal airplane the Army had. Before that, they had like Piper Cubs and different. I'm not sure, but anyway, bird dog was the first all-metal airplane. It's very similar to it's kind of a hybrid between a Cessna 180 and a 170. So it has a tail wheel. Well, after Korea, they gave them all to the Civil Air Patrol and National Guard, and basically got rid of them. But then Vietnam started, and the people up at world level decided they needed a small reconnaissance airplane. The helicopters couldn't. The Huey helicopter only had an hour and 45 minutes of fuel, absolute.
Wow.
And so, they could go out and come back, but they couldn't stay out there very long.
Yeah.
And so, and a Huey was very expensive compared to a bird dog.
Right.
And had 4 crew members, and a bird dog only had 1. So anyway, they got all these bird dogs back from the Civil Air Patrol, National Guard. Some of them were in the National Guard. Sent them back to Cessna, got them refurbished and designated O1G, and sent them to Vietnam.
And then so what was it for? Like were y'all scouting?
When you say bird dog, a lot of people automatically think of Air Force FACs, forward air controllers. We did not do that mission. Forward air controllers, Air Force forward air controllers directed the fast movers, the F-4s and F-100s and the airstrikes. The Army bird dogs were primary mission was visual reconnaissance.
Okay.
And I did that every day. And also we adjusted a lot of artillery. We did a lot of radio relay. As you can imagine, the part of Vietnam I was in was as flat as that table. And the FM radios that the ground units used were limited by line of sight, so they didn't have much range. So if a bird dog could relay message, and we could do it automatically. I didn't even have to listen to it. I could set this guy up on this frequency and this guy on that frequency. They could talk to each other. I didn't even have to listen.
I was going to say, was RF a part of your electronic technology stuff at all that you did at Northwestern, or did like radio? Because I imagine back then it was pretty important.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Like understanding radio frequencies, and because everything ran on.
Well, yeah, I might have had more insight into it than some, but it wasn't a factor.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
I mean, what we did, we just turned knobs. I mean, we didn't work on them. Really.
Yeah.
Okay, and anyway, so and then we had rockets. When I first got to Vietnam, my bird dog had. I found out there were 13 bird dog companies in Vietnam. They called them RACs, Reconnaissance Airplane Company, RAC. The RAC that I was in, well, I found out after I got back from Vietnam that if you put four of us in the room talking, you wouldn't think we was in the same place because everybody did something different. And everybody's rules and regular. It was the Wild West, basically. When I got to Vietnam, I was assigned to an airplane. I flew that same airplane till the day I left. Whereas a lot of the units, you flew a different airplane every day.
Really?
Yeah. You just draw a number and you go fly that one. Well, I flew the same airplane every day for a year. And it had a M60 machine gun on each wing and 2 rockets on each wing.
And you could use those if needed while you were flying it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found out very quickly, as far as I was concerned, the M60s were almost useless because they had an ammo box out there on the wing, only had 200 rounds in it. And anybody's ever shot an M60 and those 200 rounds doesn't go very far.
Yeah.
And
They go kind of quick.
And they jammed a lot. And it was a Tinkertoy arrangement, the way they had a Marines. They had a cable coming in the cockpit with a D-ring. You had to keep cocking them. And it was just, to me, they were useless. And I was complaining about it to my crew chief one day. And he said, and this is where the electronics comes in. He said, well, there's a wrecked Cobra over behind the maintenance hangar. It's got 2 7-shot rocket pods on it. I said, well, go get them. So he did. And the bird dog has 2 hard points on each wing. Hard points meaning a place to attach. Originally, they were to attach bundles and flares and stuff. But in Vietnam, they had rockets on them. Well, we didn't think the hard point was enough to support 14 rockets. So I made a bracket to go between. Anyway, we faced them on 4 hard points instead of 2. Put the pods, a 7-shot pod on each wing, and the bird dog had a panel you could select which rockets you were going to fire, but it wasn't set up for 14 rockets. So we put basically just a step switch from the Cobra, where out in the wing that, when you fired it once, it would go to the next one and the next one. You just keep pulling the trigger. Every time you pull the trigger, it'd go to the next rocket. And that's what
got to use engineering.
Got to use my
I was going to say, you were making mods to the bird dog. So for people that are listening, watching, that don't know, the bird dog there's a front seat and a back seat.
Correct.
And there is a joystick kind of in between your legs.
Yes.
That's how you fly it. There's not a steering wheel. There's none of that. And it is a tail dragger. So, it's a little bit different than a Cessna. So it's not.
Well, now it is a Cessna.
It is a Cessna. Yeah.
Yes,
it's a little bit.
It's not a nose wheel Cessna.
Yeah. It's not a nose wheel. So it's a tail wheel Cessna. Yes. But the joystick part is what makes it very unique because most of them, the Cessnas have a steering wheel.
I don't know of another Cessna that has a stick. I don't think there is one. So
it's a very cool looking aircraft, really, and it's very unique in its own right. So basically it didn't burn up as much fuel as the helicopters.
No, it didn't burn nearly the fuel, and it could stay up for over 3.5 hours.
Right. So how long were you in Vietnam?
1 year to the day.
1 year to the day. And then you came home, and did you get out of the Army immediately, or did you stay in?
No. Reserve officers, when they're commissioned, had a 2-year obligation. They had to serve 2 years on active duty. Regular Army officers had a 3-year obligation, had to serve 3 years on active duty. When I went to flight school, that changed. When I graduated from flight school, I had another 3-year obligation from the day I graduated.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
When I graduated from flight school, I had 3 years before I could get out. reserve officers just requested to be released from active duty. I actually had to resign my commission because I was regular Army. Okay, so anyway, so no, when I came back from Vietnam, I still had 2 years left on my obligation.
Okay, and did y'all stay at the same station or did you get moved?
No, when towards the end of my tour in Vietnam, I got orders. You know, everybody did, and my orders were to the infantry officer advanced course at Fort Benning. Well, had I gone to the advanced course, I would have had another year added on.
And you were trying to get out?
No, well, yes, no. Like I told you, my career goal my whole life was to be an infantry officer in the Army. And I became so disillusioned, I guess is the right word, in Vietnam with the military, the Army especially, and the way the war was prosecuted, that I wanted out quick as I could. And so I did not. You could, if they tell you you're going to the advanced course, you have to go.
Right.
But you can refuse the obligation. They can't make you take another year obligation.
Right, right.
Which meant you could refuse the school. Technically you couldn't, but yes, you could, because if you refused your obligation, they wouldn't send you. So I back then had MARS, Military Affiliated Radio Systems, which was ham operators.
Oh, okay.
And you could call from Vietnam. You could go to a MARS station in Vietnam, which was a ham radio set, a low frequency, long range radio system, and find a ham operator in the States that would patch you to the phone system, and you can make a long distance call. And you could call collect to your home or your wife or.
Okay.
They were very hard to do. I had to stand in line almost 5 hours to make this one call. But I had to call infantry branch to tell them I wasn't going to the advanced course, so I could get new orders.
Yeah.
And so I called and I got this major, I don't remember his name. And so you can imagine how the hookup was from shortwave to shortwave to, and everything I said, okay, I had to do it in the middle of the night because of the time difference.
Right.
So everything I said was repeated back to me a second later. You understand? You've had
right.
that? Okay.
Right.
So the guy says, "Are you drunk?" I said, "No, sir, I'm not drunk." The damn phone's,
Right, right.
I said, he said, "You're telling me you're refusing the advanced course?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Do you realize how fortunate you are? You're in the top of the thing. You're fortunate to get the advanced course at such a young, as such a junior captain." I said, "Sir, I don't care. I'm not going." Or I refuse the obligation, which is the same thing as not going. Well, he said, "I'll have to reassign you." And I said, "Do I have any choice?" He said, "Hell no." and so I was assigned
latrine duty.
Well,
No.
he thought. They assigned me to the Lexington Bluegrass Army Depot in Lexington, Kentucky, which I had never heard of.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never heard of that.
And nobody in the unit had ever heard of it. So I come home. I had 30 days leave, after I got back. And my wife, at the time, Dottie, and I drove up there to, check it out, see what it was. I had no idea. I'm an infantry officer, and I'm an aviator. So I go up there. It's a big old brick building built during World War II. And I go in and report, and I walk in, "Sir," Captain McRae reporting. And this old colonel looked up at me and said, "We don't do that stuff here."
So you was about to retire early and you didn't even know it.
And so he said, "Well, you're an infantry officer. It's an electronics depot, electronics storage and repair depot. Here I come in as an infantry captain, right?" So he says, you're a pilot. Yes, sir. We don't have any airplanes. Well, I already knew that. And he said, I don't have anything for you to do. I said, he said, is there an Army base close to your home? I said, yes, sir. I live 8 miles from Fort Polk. So he called some civilian lady in there. Turns out he was one, there was a lot of officers in Vietnam that were either called back or allowed to stay much longer than, they were much older than they normally would have been just for Vietnam, so the younger people could go to Vietnam. This guy was my dad's age.
Oh, okay.
He's on active duty as a colonel.
Okay.
So anyway, very nice guy. We got to be friends. He called some civilian lady in there and said, cut Captain McRae some orders to Fort Polk, Louisiana, at no cost, TDY to Fort Polk, Louisiana, at no cost to the government. And he said, go home, and if I need you, I'll call you. I thought, well, okay. So
he sent you home.
yeah. So I came home. I don't remember exactly. I think I went to headquarters company at Fort Polk, or headquarters section. Here's my orders, TDY to Fort Polk. Well, we didn't ask for you. I know. But I'm here. Well, go over to the airfield. So I went over to the airfield, and the assistant airfield commander was a guy that was a year ahead of me in ROTC in Natchitoches.
Really?
Yeah.
Small world.
Small world. And so, he's a story now. He was very, very highly decorated in Vietnam. But anyway, he said, well, hell, we don't need you. We don't, because all the airplanes were in Vietnam. We don't have anything to fly. And I said, okay. So he said, go home. So I did. I'd go out there about once a week, drink coffee with him, and that's it. And after about a month, I guess, that colonel called me. And he said, can you fly a C-47, which is a big airplane?
Yeah.
I think 40 passenger when they put them in airline service. The DC-3 is the same thing. And, think about that. He asked me, can you fly a C-47? He wasn't an aviator.
Right.
He didn't ask me if I was rated in C-47.
He just said, could you fly it?
Can you fly C-47? Well, hell, it's an airplane. It's got things on the wings that go up and down. Sure, I can fly it.
Right.
So he said, well, I've got one. And it's at Lakehurst Naval Air Station, Lakehurst, New Jersey. And I'm going to send you a set of orders to go up there and get it. Well, okay. So he sent me a set of orders to go to Lakehurst Naval Air Station, pick up a C-47, which I'd never even seen one up close before. And I got up there and reported to a Navy warrant officer. I didn't know the Navy had warrant officers, but they had one.
They do.
They had one then. And he said, I said, I'm picking up this C-47. He said, are you rated in it? And I said, no. Well, he said, well, just how in the hell was you figuring on getting it?
I got sent here.
I said, well, I want to talk to you about that.
I need a little refresher course here.
But that time I'd been in the Army long enough that, I knew kind of how things worked.
Right.
And so he said, well, I can't authorize any training time. You'll have to ride along on missions. I was, well, that's okay. So I called the colonel back and I said, hey, they want me to take you to the training up here. Stay as long as you want. So I flew 113 hours. Took about a month to get 113 hours.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's a while.
Well, because we didn't fly every day.
Right.
Anyway. And so I got rated in the C-47. I had 113 hours in a C-47. A C-47 requires a co-pilot and a flight engineer. At that time, they've changed that. At that time, a co-pilot in the Army had to be a rated aviator. Did not have to be rated in category. In other words, a helicopter pilot could fly co-pilot in an airplane.
Okay.
And vice versa. So I'd begun to make contacts, and I had, by phone, gotten acquainted with the head of the Kentucky. I was stationed in Kentucky with the Kentucky National Guard aviation guy. And I said, I need a co-pilot and a flight engineer. So he sent 2 guys up there. And we flew that C-47 home. And I flew that thing for 3 years. I got 2,300 hours in it.
2,300 hours. You know, that's so long.
Flew every day.
I mean, that's a lot of, you said 118 hours in a month you did in it initially?
Yes.
That's a lot of flight time for a month.
I'm going to back up on that. I know I had 118 hours. It might have been more than a month. It probably was. I really don't remember.
quite a lot of hours in that short of a time to put. I mean, you're flying almost 8 hours a day, right?
Well, we flew long missions.
Yeah.
But mostly just sitting there riding. But that's a very small amount of time to be aircraft commander on an aircraft that big.
Right.
But I was.
Yeah.
And I flew it for 3 years, flew it 2,300 hours. And so my time came up, I could resign. You know, I finished my obligation.
Right.
But I had the best job in the Army. All I did was fly that C-47.
Where did you fly it to and from?
We flew, the Lexington was an electronics storage and maintenance facility. So the supply system had different priorities of, if a unit requested something, there was different priority numbers, 1 through 10, I believe. And priority 1, 2, and 3 were authorized to be sent by the fastest way possible. And so what we did, we flew high priority electronics cargo to the major Air Force MAC bases to be transferred to Air Force transport aircraft sent to Vietnam.
Okay.
So I flew to, my main missions were the Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina, Travis Air Force Base, Kelly Air Force Base in San Antonio, McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, and Washington, D.C. Went to Washington, D.C. every Friday and landed at Andrews.
So it was all domestic at that
Oh,
point?
yeah, oh, yes,
okay.
oh, yes, oh, yes.
So rewinding just a little bit. When you were in Vietnam, were you aware of how much danger you were in, or did that come later?
Well, Jessica, I was 22, 23 years old. I was bulletproof. I didn't even think about it.
That's kind of what I was wondering, you know, because
if I thought about it, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I was going to ask you what was the most memorable oh shit moment in the bird dog? Anyone ever try to shoot you down or anything like that?
I got shot at every day. I got hit a lot.
Isn't that crazy? He got shot at every day.
And he got hit a lot.
Yeah.
Well, a bird dog, you can't, I mean, it's
it's
a
all
tin.
metal frame, yeah.
It's just a tin can. If you don't hit the engine or the pilot, you don't hurt it.
So I assume the pilot and the engine never got hit.
You didn't get hit?
No.
Now, is that sheer dumb luck or was there some skill involved in that?
No, that's sheer dumb luck. Sheer dumb.
You're not being modest, are you?
No, that's true. I mean, I learned how to, I quickly learned how to get hit the least.
Yeah.
No question about that.
Right.
But where I got hit,
Right.
They were poor shots to start with, and they'd never learned to lead airplanes, for one thing. And we just learned to make our rocket runs. We just learned how to.
Were they just using like basic RPGs or something back then?
No, they were shooting AK-47s mostly.
Oh, okay. So they weren't even shooting rockets at you much. Okay.
And fortunately, I was stationed at the very bottom of South Vietnam down in the Mekong Delta. And logistically, they just didn't have the capability of getting the 37 millimeters and stuff like that that far south. It's just too hard. The Ho Chi Minh Trail, they had about a 0 chance of getting all the way down. So they mostly had AKs.
And what altitude were you flying at mostly?
Our company regulations said we were never supposed to fly below 2,500 feet. But the fact is, at 2,500 feet, you can't see what you're supposed to see. So we all flew. My standard VR altitude, visual reconnaissance altitude, was 1,500.
Okay.
And then you start your rocket run, you pull out before you hit the trees.
Yeah. So that's a questionable shot for an AK at that. You know, if you're up at 1,500, it'll.
At 1,500 feet, it'd just be luck if they hit you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But now you start getting down shooting rockets. But now it takes a gutsy son of a gun to shoot at you when you're firing rockets at them.
Yeah.
So, but what you had to watch was how you broke from your run and where you broke toward. That's when you got exposed. Mm-hmm. And so you tried to break toward the tree line and go across the tree so fast they couldn't see you. You know, you just, you know.
So do you have a single kind of close call memory, anything that sticks out in your mind of that year?
Well, I do, and this is, it'll surprise you. Well, first off, you asked me if I ever got shot. I took a round in the fuel selector
Boy, that's ironic, huh?
They had several ceasefires while I was there, and they had a ceasefire for Tet in 1969. Tet 68 was the big Tet. The Tet 69 had a 24-hour ceasefire. And I was out on a VR mission, and on the canal where I was all water. Yeah, most travel was by water. And there was a canal coming into the town, had a big banner over it that the VC had put up the night before. And it was in Vietnamese, of course. So because we were not allowed to carry strap hangers. I mean, if somebody hey, I want to go. No, you couldn't go. We were not allowed to carry anybody that wasn't. And I never, very rarely had a legal observer. I never had an observer. But this particular day on ceasefire, this major that worked in the TOC, Tactical Operations Center, wanted to go with me. Well, I didn't see any problem with it because of the ceasefire.
Right.
So he was in the back seat, and we were flying out there. We saw that banner. Well, neither of us spoke Vietnamese, so I said, I'll just make passes, low passes, and you write down what that banner says. We'll get it translated. And I'd make a pass, and he'd write 2 or 3 letters. You know, it went on like that. About the 5th pass, everybody in Vietnam opened up on us during the ceasefire. Mm. I'm exaggerating, but we took a lot. we took a lot of fire, and the round hit that fuel selector, and a piece of shrapnel went in my neck. A piece of plexiglass. It was sticking out. I could feel it, and no big deal. And the gasoline was pouring on his lap. He was really burned bad with that gasoline. That 145 octane gasoline blistered him, his whole growing area to his knees from his navel.
Just from being on him?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's high. So volatile.
Serious stuff. Yeah.
And so anyway, we got back, and I went to the aid station to get that piece of shrapnel pulled out of my neck. And the medic asked me, "Do you want a tag? Do you want me to fill out a tag?" I was so dumb, I didn't know what he was talking about. But if a medic fills out a tag, you get a Purple Heart.
Oh.
I said, hell, I don't need no tag.
So you could have been a Purple Heart recipient?
A John Kerry Purple Heart, you know.
Yeah.
A Band-Aid Purple Heart.
Yeah, Band-Aid Purple Heart.
But I would have been embarrassed to wear it because I had a piece of shrapnel the size of he pulled it out with a pair of tweezers and just put some methylate on it or something and put a Band-Aid on it.
Hey, that's when methylate was still a thing.
Yeah, I'd have been embarrassed to.
Yeah, that would have been stolen valor. Huh?
Yeah, that's what John Kerry got 3 of them. But it would have been legal.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and so, and it gives you a 10-point preference. Now, he did say that. I'll give you a preference if you ever want a government job. Well, I never figured on getting a government job, so I said, no, I don't need a tag. But I didn't know it meant Purple Heart, but I still probably would have said no. Okay, so that's not the scariest. The scariest, I guess, was we had this one airfield that was a road, and they had blocked off the road, part of the road, and made it an airfield, and then moved the highway traffic over on the detour road, which was lower. It wasn't very long. I don't know how long it was. And I had to go out there one day, and there was a Chinook and 2 Cobras parked on that strip. Well, being young and bulletproof, and I thought I was good. So, hell, I can land on that. And nothing to do with combat, it's stupidity. And when I got on the ground, I realized that them helicopters are getting big fast. And I pushed on the brakes so hard that, which was a failing for all Cessna, single engine Cessnas at that time. The seat ran on a little track, little thing that grabbed a little track. And I pushed on it so hard that I I bent the seat part, and the front of the seat came off the track. So I went in the back seat.
Oh my gosh.
But I had slowed down enough that it ran out in a rice field and didn't hurt the airplane.
You got lucky then.
Very lucky. I mean, it did. I was just barely moving by that time, but it did. And I got some Vietnamese soldiers helped me put it back up on the runway, and everything was good. That's the most frightened I ever was.
Yeah, that fuel selector thing. I've heard you don't really like to use that fuel selector anyway. So
He said
Not all
somebody's
the
been
time.
telling you some stories.
have it on good authority.
Sometimes I don't use it. But anyway, it was an adventure. I enjoyed it. I hated being assigned to bird dogs at first because I felt like I was a hotshot aviator, second in my class. I should have been assigned to a more sophisticated aircraft, but I wasn't. And I learned to enjoy it. It became a challenge. I said, I know they're down there. I can find them, and I got good at it.
Well, good. So, okay, we're going to fast forward just a little bit. So, and we'll rewind some, but the bird dog is very important right now, part of your story. Later on in life, you purchased a bird dog,
I did.
and you still own the bird dog.
Flew it up here today.
Yeah. So it's historically accurate. It's
There's minute little differences. You couldn't look at it and tell.
right. So at some point, and you'll have to remind me of the year, Ralph got a really cool opportunity. They contacted him for anybody that's a Netflix. I think it's Netflix. Netflix,
sure.
Hulu,
I'm not sure.
something. The Marvelous Miss Maisel. Okay, so they contacted Ralph because they were doing a scene where they were going to have these bird dogs in the scene. Okay, so I want to hit on that story. One, how did they find you?
That I don't know. I mean, I guess there are ways to research it on the internet. I don't know. But a guy called me. He was an aviation consultant to the movie industry. He called me and asked me if I had a bird dog. I said, yeah. He says, is it painted in Army colors? I said, yeah. He said, would you be interested in flying it to Long Island, New York to be in a movie? It was in March. Imagine the weather in March, right? Over the Appalachian Mountains. And I said, well, hell no. And he said, okay. So a week or two, he called me back. He said, well, you didn't ask how much we paid. I said, okay, how much? He told me. I said, when you want me to leave? And so a friend of mine, actually a guy that had owned that bird dog before me, he sold it to a guy, and then I bought it from that guy. I met him in Memphis, and we flew together up there, and we were in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't in the movie, just the airplane was.
The airplane, right.
Yeah.
So you got, and my understanding is that there was just like shots of these planes lined up, essentially.
There were 2 rows of them. And it was that entire production, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Mine was at the front, very front, because it was pretty authentic. But a lot of them had been pulling gliders, were painted orange and purple and green, yellow. I mean, it was just everything. And in one night, they wrapped those bird dogs, made them all look authentic Army bird dogs with some kind of wrap.
Wow.
In one night.
So you got to be on the set.
Oh, yeah, we were there the whole time.
You were there the whole time?
Yes.
Okay, so how many days did it take you to get from here to Long Island in the bird dog?
We only spent one night one night on the road.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were saying, what, 3.5 hours of flight time? What was your...
I don't fly over 3 hours.
I figured you probably don't go all the way to empty, but what's the cruising speed on that thing?
About 100 knots.
Okay.
About 110, 10, 15 miles an hour.
So it's a jaunt up there for sure.
So we stopped. No, I'm telling you a lie. It's not true. I stopped in Memphis.
And picked up your friend.
I spent the night there.
Okay.
And we left early that morning. We spent the night in West Virginia, I think. West Virginia, because the winds were so high. It was gale force winds. They were forecasting gale force winds on Long Island. Well, I don't know what gale force is, but I knew it was more than that bird dog going. So we spent the night and then we went. So it took us parts of 3 days. But
3 days.
Really only took 2.
You said he didn't see one cloud the whole time.
Not one cloud. Up there or back.
Really?
And I told the guy, I said, man, you realize what the weather's going to be? I said, what if I get halfway up there or 100 miles from there and get weathered in, don't get to do it? Well, he says, you still get paid. Well, okay. I had heard these stories about these movie companies coming into South Louisiana, these plantation homes and stuff, and making a big deal and leaving in the middle of the night and not paying. So I says, I'm not going to do it. I said, what if y'all just decide not to pay me because I get weathered in? He said, send me your routing number. I'll send you the money.
Pay you up front.
Pay you up front.
Next morning it was in my bank.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I said, okay, I'm leaving.
So did you get to meet anybody that was on the show?
We were absolutely forbidden they were over there and we were right here, but we were absolutely forbidden from having any interaction with any of the actors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a given. But the morning that they drove, and this whole thing, my part, was a matter of seconds. Mrs. Maisel, I don't remember her name, got in the Jeep and drove down that row of bird dogs and came back. That was it. But before when she came out to get in the Jeep, she had a coffee cup in her hand, a paper coffee cup. And she was looking around like, where's she going to put it? Well, I stepped out there and took it from her. And a guy scolded me for it. I said, well, hell, what you mean? Let her do, throw it on the ground. So anyway, that was my only contact with a movie star.
Well, I just think it's one of the coolest stories because I was always curious how they had to have, if he says he's an aviation consultant, then obviously he had his ways, but they would have had to have gone and searched for that aircraft
through
the FAA registry. And then they just find your phone number.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
You didn't find anybody's phone number on the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I would
then they
assume
just
they're
call.
tapped into
call.
Probably. Yeah, they just call.
I think there were 20-something bird dogs there.
Isn't that crazy?
They may even have like I would say probably the real high up aviation sourcing guys in the media industry probably have connections with the Army databases
Maybe
and
so.
stuff like that.
I don't know.
You know.
But most of them were from New England and the East Coast, but some of them came as far as I did. One guy came from Wisconsin.
How many bird dogs did they have?
15 or 20.
Oh, wow. Okay. Dang.
Just the fact that they were able to find that many,
Yeah.
is kind of cool in itself.
Yeah.
I've heard that's a really good show. I need to watch it, especially for stand-up comedy fans.
Well, Ralph McRae's aircraft is in
I'm
it.
in it. My airplane's in it.
Yeah.
First episode, second or third season, I forgot which. But I'd never heard of it. So while I was in the hotel, I started watching it on my iPad. I watched it. It was interesting, but it like a lot of those series, I guess they run out of good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it got blah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still cool to have that kind of life experience, though.
Well, the experience, the production, I mean, they had rows and rows of 18-wheeler type trailers, big van trailers with showers, where these stars lived. They had 2 big World War II aircraft hangars with food.
Really?
Well, they had hundreds of extras.
Yeah.
I didn't mention that, but they had hundreds of extras. And you could go in there anytime, night or day. They had one place was, I forget, one place was Mexican. I remember that because I like Mexican food. And one place was something else, and you just go over and eat all you want. It's just amazing.
It's kind of neat to be involved in that. I remember when that happened, and I was just like, how did they even find him? Just found him, and he gets this really cool story.
The big generators, like at the fair, those big generators, he had rows of those big cables running everywhere.
Yeah.
It was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I would love to know how they got all those planes wrapped in one night.
No, but they did.
Isn't that crazy?
And they had a few. They had a few old Navy planes. I think a TBM, and they wrapped them too.
Wow,
Sure did.
that's pretty cool.
And next morning they pull it
off and get it over and done with.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to go back home.
Yeah.
So okay, so now we're going to rewind a little bit because that was what year was that? That wasn't that long ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Because I remember by that time we were in the aviation world, so it would have had to have been just a handful of years back. So we're going to rewind a little bit. You get out of the military, you come back home. Okay, what did you do after you got out of the military?
I came home and worked for my father in his construction business.
And and for how long did you do that?
Told you I wish I'd have studied. I got out of the Army in 1973. 1980. So 7 years.
7 years.
1980. Truman Ellis, a guy from Leesville that worked at the Ford place here, it was a salesman, came to where I was working on the job, said, Mrs. Cook wants to see you. Be at her house tonight at 7 o'clock. I had never met Mrs. Cook, but I knew who she was. She owned the Ford place. And she was old Leesville, I don't know what she wants with me, but I'll go over there. And basically said, I'm selling my dealership and I'm selling it to you.
So how did
That's how I wound up in Fort Miss.
So did you know her? Or?
No, I never met her before.
Wow. And she just wanted to sell it to you.
She did sell it to me.
So did she know your family or anything?
Well, at least it was a small town. I mean, she knew, to this day, I don't know how that came about. I do know that at that time, there was the military, the Army, had a big public relations section, and anytime anybody did something, they would send a blurb to the local newspaper. So I had several write-ups in the local newspaper about things I'd done, just stuff.
Right.
And then immediately after I got out of the Army, I was asked to speak at several civic organizations because Vietnam was still going on.
Right.
And that's all I can think of. I don't know. I never did know.
So where was the dealership located at the time?
Downtown, where Pat Williams' warehouse is, where he's.
Oh, okay, where all the cars are
Yeah,
at. Okay.
yeah.
So that was where, and it was called Cook Ford?
Kane Motor Company.
Kane Motor Company.
Her, Mrs. Cook was a Kane, married a Cook. Her father had originally owned it, and then,
Okay. So she sold it to you.
Yes.
And then how long did you have it before you moved it out on Billy Goat Hill?
Well,
He's like, Lord, you're asking me too many questions.
too many questions. I'm going to say 5 years, maybe.
5 years. So did you outgrow that location? Is that what happened?
No, what happened was by that time, my son, Mark, had come into business, was actually running it. I had gone back to the other family businesses that we had historically. And Mark was running it. And Hannah Abington Ford in DeRidder had gone out of business. And they had the Toyota dealership in DeRidder. And my son started trying to get the Toyota dealership, which he did finally. And one of the conditions was we had to build a new facility.
Oh, okay. So that's how it ended up out there. Okay. So you built a place out there, and then Mark ran that as well.
Yes.
Okay. And then you stayed in construction.
Mostly I was in, well, by that time the construction company had there wasn't one.
Yeah. Okay.
I was in a ran Charleston Gas, the propane company.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
So my family owned Charleston Gas and McRae Construction.
Oh, okay.
And by
Okay.
that time, McRae Construction had pretty much faded out, and I ran the propane company.
Wow. So I'm learning all kinds of new stuff today. Because I, honest to God,
Which
did
I
not
liked.
know that.
I never liked the car business.
Wait, so did y'all start Shawson Gas?
Well, yes and no. Charleston Gas was started in the late 30s, I believe. When butane, before propane, when butane was first becoming available, and there was no rural electricity then, much, and people were put in a butane tank to get a butane cook stove and a butane refrigerator. Surveyl made gas refrigerators, similar to what's in RVs now. And those little propane companies sprang up all over. I say butane companies sprang up all over. And Dr. E.H. Shaw, a doctor here in Leesville, and my great uncle, Jimmy Atchison, formed Shaw's Son.
Oh, okay.
I'm mostly curious because the sign, says propane and propane accessories, which is King of the Hill.
Hill stuff.
Yeah.
That's Dave. That's my son-in-law's.
Okay. All right.
But anyway,
So it is a King of the Hill reference.
yes.
It
Okay.
is.
That's
And,
hilarious.
And so my grandfather, my father's father, worked at Shawson for Dr. Shaw and Jimmy Atchison.
Oh, okay.
Now, of course, I wasn't born until way later, so this is all, but it's my understanding that the relationship between Dr. Shaw was tired of putting out money.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
something had to, so he was going to get rid of it.
Okay.
My father was still in the Army in 1945. This date I know for sure. My daddy's brother, Vernon McRae, was either working there. I think he might have worked there, or he was young then. He might have worked there. I just was associated with his father working there. And they contacted my father and said, why don't the three of us buy it? So they bought it just as my father was getting out of the military. I think they paid $3,500 for it.
My God. $3,500.
That's the number that comes to mind, yeah.
So,
But they didn't buy much, I mean, at that time.
right.
There wasn't
right,
much to buy.
Right. So, looking back at your time being a business owner in Leesville, growing up in Leesville.
I didn't grow up in Leesville.
You went to school here, didn't you?
I didn't, but yes. I rode Yellowhound to school.
Okay, so where'd we grow up at then?
Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
That's right.
It's not that far away.
Well, now, today it isn't that far away. You got a 4-lane highway.
Well, that's okay. Fair enough.
Everybody's got 3 cars.
Hawthorne, like here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's got 3 cars.
It was a long trek.
In the 50s, that was a long way.
Yeah. That's fair because, well, and I think me and Greg talk about this a lot
About
too.
a damn mile and a half.
Yeah.
Over
Well,
there to
About 4
Leesville.
miles. About 4 miles. And that's the reason. First off, I have no. I'm not athletically inclined. Period. But I never played any kind of sports as a kid.
couldn't get there.
Didn't have anybody to play with.
Right.
So when I got to high school, they said go out for football. Hell, I didn't know anything about football or baseball or any of that stuff.
Right.
So I was terrible at it.
So Greg and I have talked about this before, and it's really weird because nowadays, like my daughter has friends in Rose Pine, DeRitter, she has friends all over. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't
No, it wasn't like that.
we didn't, and I graduated in 2003. So we didn't have cell phones. So like if you asked me at Anacoco High School about a kid that went to Leesville, I had no earthly idea who you were talking about.
Well, I didn't. Even in Leesville, I had no friends.
Really?
No, because I got on a school bus and went home.
He said, no, I was out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and until I started driving, I didn't have any friends.
Yeah, we just didn't have friends that were outside of school. You know, like the friends I knew went to school with me, because how was I going to meet anybody that went to Rose Pine?
Well, I had friends at school.
Right.
Once school was over, that's it. I mean, I didn't
Right.
see them again.
So, okay, did y'all y'all probably didn't talk on the telephone, huh?
No. Get off that phone. I might need it.
So we didn't have call waiting. Like
No.
we didn't have.
We had a party line.
Yeah. Okay. Party line. Okay. That's okay. I kind of have to put the years into perspective.
Yeah, no, we didn't do that.
Well, because you're young at heart. So
The first phone that we had was a wall crank phone.
really.
Yes,
So my
ma'am.
grandmother at one time was a switchboard operator.
But now but by the time I was old enough to talk on the phone, the wall phone was gone. But we had an 8-party line.
8-part. That's how everybody knew everybody's business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You pick it up and listen.
Did you do that ever?
I didn't, but I don't remember it, but I don't think I did.
So
Mostly it was old women that
yeah. That's what so my great grandmother was one of those women because she would tell me about it.
Everybody had a different ring. Okay. And if you picked up at the same time on somebody else's ring, well, you were on the line just like they were.
Right.
Yeah. And
And
that's
as long as you
true.
didn't talk,
As long as you didn't talk, they didn't know you were on there.
and sometimes they'll say, "Get off, Sarah. I know you're on there." And then we got really modern. We went to a 4-party line.
4 party lines, yes.
And then sooner or later, it went to a private line.
There was at some point, I remember.
Your daddy can remember that, I bet.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's Simpson. I know it was like that.
I think you're a little bit younger than my grandparents. I'm not. In fact, I know you are.
I was born in 44.
Yeah, so you're about 10 years younger than my grandparents were, and I remember going through their yearbooks one year, and I was looking, and I was just like, "What is this number at the bottom of every single business that sponsored the yearbook?" It was a 4-digit number.
Oh, yeah.
That was the number. So it wasn't 239-5555. It was 9-5, or it would be
A 4-digit number.
Yeah, it's some kind of 4-digit number. Yeah.
So then when they came out with the 3 numbers, in Leesville, all you had to dial was 9.
Yes, you only had to dial the 9.
You didn't have to
dial the 2-3. It
Just
was
the 9.
weirdest thing.
So when you say party line, you mean like if you say 4-party line, that would mean 3 of your neighbors around
Yes.
you that had a line would also
So
be tapped.
if you had a party line right now, you would have those 2 townhouses, this studio, and your dad's house would be on a party line, and everybody had a different ring. So like if it rang, that'd be your ring, and then there'd be another ring for somebody else.
It's like long and shorts. Or you're 2 shorts and 1 long, or whatever you're.
Correct, and everybody knew what their ring was, but they still picked up and listened to everybody's phone calls.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so it was, you would know all your neighbor's business for no good reason other than you were just, didn't have anything better to do. I remember my great grandmother telling me about that stuff. She would.
I was way up in elementary school. I was not in high school, but probably junior high. And Daddy said, call this number. And so I did, and my grandmother answered, way out in the country. It was the first time she had a phone. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I talked to my grandmother on the phone.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I bet she thought it was a big deal too. So, what's the biggest change from then to now that you can think of that you've seen in Leesville?
Well, the growth, of course, the population growth. When I was in high school, let's say, 171 was a 2-lane, 9-foot lanes. Now it's 12, and it's 4-lane, but it used to be just 2 9-foot lanes. Imagine 2 trucks passing on that 2 9-foot lanes.
Yeah, that sounds.
The mirrors were about that far apart.
That sounds like the turning lane inside the city limits.
And so the traffic is Friday afternoon traffic. I used to think, my God, I never thought to see as much traffic in Leesville. And the traffic, the infrastructure, the 171. I guess physically, that's the biggest change. I remember when McDonald's came, when Mr.
Was that a big deal?
When Mr. Langlois built my family had a history of having Sunday dinner at my mother's house out on Texas Highway, and it would usually be my father and my mother, my Uncle Vernon, his wife, and me and several, and business. Nothing to ever discussed but business and politics. The only two things I ever talked about. And I'd just gotten out of the Army, and McDonald's was a thing then, And they were always talking about possibilities, business possibilities. I said, why don't we try to get a McDonald's franchise? And I'll never forget, my uncle said, I damn sure don't want no hamburger joint. And that's the end of that. And about 2 years later, Mr. Langlois came in and built that McDonald's, and the rest is history.
I wonder if he was ever mad that he didn't.
I don't know.
He probably thought about that in his mind, though.
Well, he couldn't have got one anyway because we didn't have any, any restaurant experience or anything. But it was just a thought.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think about that stuff too now. Like what could you bring here? What could you do? And it's not as easy as people think.
We tried to get a Chili's 10 years before they built the Chili's, and
well, it's really, like there's prerequisites.
Yeah, they do. They do studies, and
correct.
Well, Holiday Inn. My father was a partner in the Holiday Inn when it was built. Now it's Landmark or something.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be Holiday Inn, and they sent a guy. Holiday Inn Corporation sent a guy here to do a study. And the Continental was the only motel, and it stayed full 100% all the time. And the only person the guy came and talked to was Deloy Ross, who owned the Continental. Said, "You know the motel?" No.
No.
So that was the end of that. So they contacted a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy, and got another guy to come do a survey. He couldn't get a room.
Yeah, because if you call me and say, "Hey, do you need another mechanic shop here?" I'm probably likely to be like, "No."
No, we got it under control.
So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, like the hotels, the big 4-lane 171 down through New Lando and south of town. To me, the changes are mostly physical.
So the physical change. Thinking back through your younger years, 3rd Street was the street.
Yes.
When you were younger.
Yes.
So how has that transitioned? Because where Fat Boy and Skinny's is now was a service station.
Conoco.
Yes. Okay. So my grandfather worked there.
James Jeter, I think, had it.
That's correct. Okay. So is that how you met Mr. Jeter?
Oh, I don't know how I met James Jeter. Everybody knows James Jeter. I don't know how I met James Jeter.
He was one of my favorite people on the planet. Just full of it. But gosh, I loved him so much.
Somewhere in Leesville, I don't know how that came up, ironically. I was talking to Galen coming over here. At a restaurant, James Jeter and Jimmy Mayu were paying their bill to leave. And Jeter just is deadpan serious to a little girl. He said, "My daddy will get it." And the little girl thought Jimmy was daddy. He got so mad.
Mr. Jeter was older than him, wasn't he?
Little bit.
Little bit, yeah. So you don't know how you met Mr. James?
No.
Yeah, he was, okay.
Oh, I do too.
Okay.
Yeah, we bought from him in the construction business.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
So what did he do?
Who?
Mr. Jeter.
He had the Conoco distributorship here.
Okay. So, and they did more than just a gas station?
Oh, yeah, he had a buck plant,
Okay.
But back then, I talk like this in 1800s. But, the Gulf had a distributorship here down at the end of 3rd Street on the very south end. Mm-hmm. That was the Gulf. And then they had Conoco, and Miss Lambert had the Mobile out where she lived, where she did live. Mm-hmm. And they had delivery trucks, and they took the gas out to the service stations.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
And that's what Mr. Jeter did. And he had the Conoco, and we bought oil and diesel and stuff from him.
Yeah, so did you know Mr. Jeter at all? Man, he was a hoot. He was full of good stories, and I don't know, I never did ask him about how he was a musician.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's pictures of him with like guitars and stuff. So I don't know. And I never got the chance to ask him about any of that. So mostly if you have, older people in your life, you should get all the stories out of them that you can, because it's good to look back on and reminisce on.
I don't know that it had anything to do with it or not, but James had a daughter, Gail, that was was in high school with me. So,
Really?
Yeah, and she was, I think, 1 year behind me, and we were friends. And so it could have been. I think I met him through the business.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then you met Mr. Mayu the same way, or did you meet him throughout other ways?
I don't know.
Yeah,
how
just
I met him. Yeah.
Just
Well, where your office is now, there was a little meeting room there.
oh, okay,
That was a Schlitz.
that's correct.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that come there and they're like, "Man, this used to be the beer plant," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Well,
we know."
James had a little room there, like I don't know what it was for. Exactly, it's like a meeting room, and different times. I can't remember an example, but different times. Well, we meet over at Jeter's. At Mayu's, we'll meet over there, and we had different things there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how actually I met him. I don't know.
Yeah. So, what year did you run for mayor? Do you remember?
Yeah,
Okay.
1978.
Do you remember why you wanted to run for mayor?
I didn't.
You didn't. Okay. So you just woke up one day and qualified, or
No, okay. Leesville was had I forget what they called it, what act it was created under, but it had an alderman form of government.
Okay.
Had a mayor, commissioner of finance, commissioner of roads and streets, and commissioner of something else. And the citizens of Leesville had voted to go to a home rule charter. So the home rule charter was just fixing to take effect. And what was like what y'all have, the mayor and the 6 council members. And I lived in an old frame house up in front of where Mark lived.
Okay.
On Texas Highway. And I don't know. I thought, well, hell, I know a lot of people. I just run for city council.
For city council. Okay.
It'd be District 3.
That is District 3
which
still.
would be Lee Hills. And back then, Lee Hills wasn't all rent property. It was a lot of people.
Yes.
Okay. And so I was, well, hell, I just run for city council. And so I started doing my little thing, getting cards ready, 3x5 cards of who lived where and all that. And Dottie, my wife, had a little bitty table in our little kitchen. And I sat at that table trying to figure all that. And she said, the mayor's race was going to be between Robert Pines,
Senior.
and Elvin Fontenot, Senior.
Okay.
That was going to be the mayor's race. Well, right about that time, Robert moved out of town, out to where on Alexander Highway, and became ineligible to run for mayor.
Okay.
So
Who was the mayor at the time?
Boots Sarter.
Boots Sarter. Okay, I was going to say it had to have been right about his time.
And Dottie, well, why don't you just run for mayor? Well, hell, I can't run for mayor. I don't know how to be a mayor. And she said, well, sure you do. So I did.
And you won.
Yes.
Okay, so what was the most surprising thing that you learned about?
Well, I don't want to go into all that.
Oh no, I mean just like about running a government.
Oh, I ran it like it was a business. I didn't have any problem running it because I ran it like it was a business. I ran it like it was mine, and everything I spent was my money, and would I spend my money on that or not?
Right.
That's the way I looked at it.
So did you any kind of like misconceptions? Because for me, like from coming from myself, from where I started to where I am now, I like there was a lot of things I just didn't know.
I can't say that.
Yeah, I just didn't like.
It surprised me if people offered me bribes.
Really?
That surprised me.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it didn't surprise me. The people that offered me bribes, it surprised me who they were.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, for me, like, and I don't know why I thought this. I really don't know. I thought the police jury was in charge of all the roads, except for the state highways. I wasn't aware that the city actually had its own roads. So when I very first moved into the city limits, I called my police juror because I had an issue on my road, and we were like going back and forth, and not in a disagreement type of fashion. And he was like, "Well, I don't think that's our road," and I was just like, "What do you mean it's not your road?" I had no idea that the city even had roads. Yeah. I thought the police jury was in charge of all that. So there was things I've learned along the way that I just frankly did not know. And then of course, there's things now that the public doesn't know. They'll say, "Oh, you gotta fire that police officer." You can't fire them. They're civil service. So that it's a lot of stuff that you learn stuff, so much stuff along the way. Did you have any particular goal in mind when you ran, or,
Well, and other than just generic, I wanted to make the city I wanted to do the best I could for the city. I wanted to improve things. I wanted to bring stuff in, which was very difficult and still is.
Yeah.
I wanted to do as much as I could to help the city, but I didn't have any written list of goals.
So when you got out of the military and you went back to work, and then you started opening your businesses and stuff and, working, how long did you go without flying?
Well, when I first got out of the military, I was flying a lot. I was flying regularly. The Berry family bought a twin engine Piper Seneca, and I flew that for them. And I got a good bit of experience there. And then I bought a Jackie Sims, Joe McKee, and I bought a 182.
Mr. Joe?
Yep.
I love Mr. Joe. He's so sweet.
Yep.
He is so sweet.
Bought a 182 and flew that, and then wound up buying one. Now, I always had an airplane.
You always, okay, so you never really did stop flying.
When we sold the Ford dealership, we had the Ford dealership on 3 Barons at different times, and the last one we owned was an Aerostar, a Piper Aerostar, very nice pressurized twin, and the negotiating, we sold it to Ford Motor Company, and when they did their negotiations, they made it clear that on the day we closed, that airplane had to be gone.
Oh, okay.
They didn't want an airplane.
No airplanes.
And so we sold the Aerostar. And I intended to get another small airplane. But I don't know, my wife and I were at that time I don't even know who I was married to then. Somebody. Anyway. I've only been married 4 times. So.
Okay, I didn't know that either. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. I did not know that.
But I did find the perfect woman. It just took me a long time to do it.
Anna is perfect for you. That is very correct.
So anyway, I just never got around to buying one. The first thing you know, 17 years had gone by.
Isn't that crazy? I knew you had a period of time where you did not fly.
And my Vietnam unit had a reunion in San Antonio. And there's a lot of bird dog owners in Central Texas for some reason. There's more in Central Texas than anywhere in the world. And the organizers of the reunion, he died right after the reunion too. I don't remember his name. Anyway, he had arranged for some of the bird dog owners to bring their bird dogs to give spouses rides to sort of give them an idea of what we did in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And so Anna rode in one of those bird dogs. As soon as she got on the ground, we got to have one of these.
Yeah, Anna made him buy a bird dog.
And that's how I got back in flying.
That's really, truly how it happened.
True statement.
She loves that bird dog. And she packs it full of everything it will hold.
Really?
He's probably had to adjust fuel load for Anna sometimes.
Well, that's interesting too. Like I say, I hadn't flown in 17 years, I hadn't flown a bird dog in over 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I knew I had to have some refresher training. And I went to a school in Waco where they had a bird dog. And I was getting over a sprained ankle. That was the first problem. And we got in that bird dog with this young instructor. And right off, he won't start doing touch and goes. No taxi, nothing. Just, well, I couldn't do it, especially with a sprained ankle. And so he said, let's break for lunch. Well, I got in the car and came to Leesville. I didn't go back. Called them up and told them to send me a bill. They did. And I said, well, I can't do it. I'm too old.
Too old?
Why? Something. I couldn't do it. And so on the way home, I called Paul Jackson. And I told Paul. And Paul said, Ralph, that's ridiculous.
That sounds like something Paul would
That's
say.
what Paul said, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, you weren't too old.
You can fly that bird dog. And so I thought about it, and I said, yeah, I can. So I bought one. I still wasn't qualified to fly it. And we found a guy, you know Shannon Elliott?
That name sounds familiar.
Has the Rockin' on the Runway?
Yes.
Okay. Shannon Elliott, we found him. He was a very experienced bird dog pilot. And Billy Gotro would drive to Leesville. He and I would fly the bird dog to Shannon's, and Shannon would fly with me, and then Billy would fly. Only had to do it twice.
I was going to say, how quick did it come back
real
to
quick.
you?
But he was a whole lot better than that kid. Shannon's runway is 150 feet wide. He said, let's just go taxi around and all. And we did and come back. And we flew 2 times, and I was perfectly comfortable in it.
Yeah.
But just the way that kid started out was just...
That's kind of how... that's kind of my experience in College Station when I started to do some flight lessons while I was over there in college, and I got out there. I did like one lesson because we got out there, same sort of thing. Young instructor, he was very talented, but not a very good communicator. And just, I mean, right away we went up, and this is middle of summer. I mean, it was sweltering in that Cessna. It was so hot. And I started to get kind of nauseous. He's swooping us in over Kyle Field, you know, and we're coming down, and he wasn't like communicating with me about what we were going to do, you know? And so he's kind of like, you know, let me have the controls. And I thought we were coming into land, you know, and he's like, oh no. And I feel him start lifting back up, you know, and he's like, oh no, we're doing touch and goes. And I'm like, well, you didn't
say
that's
we were doing
that's a very common trait with young instructors.
Yeah.
It's a difference between being a pilot and an instructor.
Yeah.
Big difference. And on a person, how you introduce someone to flying, I was fortunate. I had an old crop duster that taught me at Northwestern. And you don't want to do anything to make it flight unpleasant. Mm. You want to make it, if it's not fun, why you won't do it?
Right.
You know, see, and so you don't ever do anything like it. You don't ever, like the flight you took with me in the helicopter. You know, you don't ever want to do anything to make somebody uncomfortable.
So for anybody that doesn't know, I'm terrified of flying. And I had just got back from a flight going somewhere. And it is a feat to get me into any aircraft. And Ralph landed the helicopter. I don't even remember where you had been that day.
I don't either.
And he lands the helicopter. Was that an R-22?
R-44.
R-44. Doors are off. And he's like, he wasn't done flying that day. And he's like, anybody want to go for a ride? And there was people everywhere, and nobody wanted to go. And he was like, nobody wants to go? Well, I couldn't stand it because, you know, he wasn't done. And I was like, I'll go with you, Ralph. I'd never been in a helicopter before. In my mind, Ralph's been a pilot I knew because you've gotten a Wright Brothers Award, been a pilot for 50 years. So, and I thought he had been flying helicopters for 50 years. So at first he was like, I'll just fly you right around here. You know, we'll just hover around, you know, because he knew I was nervous. And then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, it's cool, Ralph. Let's do a go around. You know, let's go around the into the flight pattern.
He's like, no, all I know how to do is hover around this area. So far, this is day 2 in the chopper.
We get up, you know, and we get, and I'm like,
Well,
Ralph.
I had a commercial license at a helicopter.
Okay,
yeah, he did, and by that time. Yeah. But in my mind, I thought he had flown helicopters in Vietnam.
Right.
Whole time I'm thinking he's been flying helicopters for 50 years. So we get up there and we get about halfway into the flight pattern, and I go, Ralph, how long have you been doing this? And he said, about 11 months. And I was like, oh my God.
I got my helicopter license when I was 76. And the guy that came up, the Peyton Enlow, he came up and he said, it's a pleasure to give somebody a tech ride who's older than me.
Yeah.
Because he was a Vietnam pilot.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and it would, like, to me, in my mind, I'm thinking Ralph's been, he's been doing this for forever. I was there when he got a Wright Brothers award. So I knew what the qualifications were for that. And I was just thinking the whole time that he had been doing it for forever. And then I was just like, oh my God, I'm in the helicopter with somebody that's not really ever even flown the helicopter that much. And it's intimidating, specifically when you don't know how to fly. Anna's never intimidated. Now, I'm assuming Anna does not know how to fly.
No.
But she will.
She won't learn. I've tried to get her to learn.
No. She'll get into any airplane. She doesn't bother her at all. Like, just hop in, and I'm the polar opposite. I mean, it takes everything to get me.
She got in that rocket that
she did.
Yeah.
And I'm just not. I'm not going to do that. I'm petrified as it is.
I wouldn't get in that.
Oh, no, because that rocket, I don't know how fast it goes, but did she fly with John that time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was at Reclaw, wasn't it?
No, it was just Leesville.
It was at Leesville, yeah. No, absolutely no way I would get in. But Anna is just fearless.
He was doing rolls and loops and stuff, and Anna just ate it up.
Yeah,
some people
she's
are built
fearless.
like that. I that's how I feel about the motorcycle. When we're out riding bikes and stuff, and Marianne used to be more amenable to being on the back of a bike, but some people. I mean, my friend Daniel actually that owns this DBB Power Sports, the shirt I'm wearing. His wife Nancy is like that. She's just fearless. I mean, one time we were out at Lakey, at the Twisted Sisters with our motorcycle annual group ride thing, and for some reason or another, we switched up riders. I think some people were trying out different bikes or whatever, and so Nancy ended up on the back with me, and I'm used to Marianne just kind of being timid and everything. I'm leaning into the corner, because Daniel's a very fast rider too, and she's. I'm like, you good back there, And she's like, we get off, and we start talking to everybody, and she's like, I was wondering why you weren't, leaning harder into the corners, Like, I was like, oh man,
I could have done more.
Yeah. Anna enjoyed riding Harley with me until she went to the rider safety course, and they told her how dangerous everything was. She wouldn't get back on it.
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe she's just blissfully unaware of everything. Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know.
I've been on the back of a motorcycle, I guess, probably once or something for a very short distance, maybe when a bike ran out of gas or something, and we're just ferrying back and forth. And just that short time being on the back, I'm like, nope, not for me. I couldn't do it.
The back of the motorcycle does not bother me at all, and not near as much as the airplane does. We were coming back from Jennings, and I think that's the longest flight I've ever done is Jennings. And we went for the Stearman fly-in. You were there, you and Anna were there that day. And I just remember the whole time, and I didn't realize it until we landed on the ground in Leesville. I had been holding my hands completely clenched, stiff as a board, the whole flight from Jennings. So when I finally relaxed and we landed, I had exhausted myself, and I almost did not make it home.
Isometric exercises.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had to drive home, and when I made it home, I had to lay down and go to sleep because I had exhausted myself being so terrified. Now, admittedly, I wasn't as terrified in the helicopter, but I knew we were just right there. It wasn't.
Well, they just kill you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. So what endorsements do you have as far as flying? What all have you accomplished?
Well,
I know you have your tail dragger.
Let me say this. There's a difference between being certified to do something and being qualified to
Qualified, yes.
do we understand that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I have an airline transport pilot rating in multi-engine, single-engine aircraft.
Okay.
I have a type rating and a Fanjet Falcon and a DC-3. I have a commercial helicopter, and I'm a certified flight instructor in multi, single engine, instruments, and helicopters.
And you have your tail dragger endorsement.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's not a certification. That's just
an endorsement.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was the hardest one to achieve out of all that?
Helicopter instructor.
Do you think it was because of your age? Do you think if you had done that in your 20s, it would have been easier? Mm-hmm. No? Okay.
The aerodynamics of a helicopter are just tremendously complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Airplane's pretty simple, but the aerodynamics of that rotating airfoil is just mind-boggling. And I know people that are good helicopter pilots can barely read and write, but for that instructor rating, you had to learn not all. You had to learn a lot of that stuff, which I've since forgotten. Not the flying, but to pass the written.
Right.
Okay. The written helicopter instructor rating was the hardest test I've ever taken.
So, what do you prefer to fly? What if you could pick anything? What would you fly?
Money not being a factor.
Yeah.
Helicopter and bird dog.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So, am I wrong? I may be wrong. So correct me if I am wrong. Did you have a close call in something or an accident? Maybe it wasn't you. It may. I don't know.
Helicopter or
wasn't in the helicopter. It was in an airplane. I just don't remember.
I've had several.
Okay.
which time?
Which one are you talking about?
Okay. So
you talking about the RV-8?
I think it was the RV.
RVs are home-built airplanes, as you know. I won't ever buy another one.
Was it a lesson learned?
Well, I actually bought another one after that, but I won't ever do it. I bought that helicopter in Vancouver, Washington. No, I didn't. Vancouver, British Columbia. Went and got it. Never even been in one before. And the guy was a retired Canadian airline pilot. He was trying to tell me, I said, hey, man, it's an airplane, no big deal. Anyway, I was halfway home before I figured out how to work the autopilot. But anyway, I was learning to fly the helicopter. Mm-hmm. The helicopter, it was my helicopter, but it was based at Southland in Sulphur. And I would fly the RV down there every day. And Jacob, at that time, was a line pilot for, at that time it was ERA. Mm-hmm. And he'd get off work and come over to Southland and would do the helicopter. Well, one day I pulled up to stop. The lineman marshaled me in, and I stopped. And he said, when you stop, that left landing gear moved back about a foot. I said, wow. So the guy I know that knows the most about RV-8s, I called him. I said, the guy said the landing gear moved back a foot. He said, that's impossible. I said, okay. So I just laid it to the fact that the lineman didn't know what he's talking about. The next day, landing gear came off that airplane.
Oh, yeah. So that it wasn't your fault. Wasn't even.
No, NTSB said it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. So, and am I wrong? It flipped over? Yeah, it flipped.
Well, I just made a normal landing, and it just kept going down on one side. And so I knew immediately the gear had failed. And I said, well, no biggie. It's just going to slide down the runway. I might ground loop, but no big deal. Well, I kept it straight with a rudder until I ran out of speed, didn't have enough energy over the tail to keep it straight. And it veered off, that dragging on that side, it veered off to the grass on the left, and the propeller
prop strike
hit the ground, hit the dirt. And that's what turned it over.
Yeah. So were you scared at any time during that, or?
No, I wasn't scared then. I was unconscious.
But before that, before the unconsciousness.
It happened so fast. I mean, I thought it was going to ground loop.
It's one of those things you just kick in and you're.
No, I was sliding down the runway. Everything was cool. And I just knew it was going to go out there in the grass and ground loop. No big deal. And
that's not what happened.
No, as soon as I hit the grass, it flipped over so fast I didn't have time to even know it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long I was unconscious, but And if that happened at Leesville, I'd still be out there. Think about that.
Yeah. Nobody's out there.
No one's out there.
Yeah.
But people can't.
Galen would have come rescued you, Ralph.
Well, he wouldn't have known it.
It was
He would have come rescue you eventually.
About a week later.
Yeah, eventually somebody would have come got you.
Were
so
you
it-
hurt or?
Well, that canopy, it slid, and so you can't get it open when it's upside down. And when I came to, there were people all around the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long I was. They had to run all the way out to the big airport, and they picked it up. 2 or 3 guys picked up the wing with me, and another guy pulled me out. And I didn't think I was hurt. I knew I was, bunged up a little bit. And anyway, I detached the retina, and my face looked like hamburger meat.
Yeah, I remember it
Yeah.
being bad.
Yeah, but
I was like, maybe I'm not remembering the right person, but it was you. Yeah.
but 3 days later, I took a helicopter lesson. So it wasn't that bad.
He's like, yeah, you haven't gonna stop
But
me
I didn't
from
know I had a
molesting.
detached retina.
Really?
No. Well, they don't call it a detached retina. They said it was a damaged retina. I was out here at Leesville fooling with my bird dog, trying to put a little bitty nut on a screw. And I couldn't do it. I said, man, something's wrong. So I went to the ophthalmologist the next day. Mm-hmm. He said, you're going to do surgery tomorrow. He said, you wait any longer, you're going to be blind in that eye.
Oh my goodness! So they were able to fix it, and you're good now.
As good as it'll ever be.
As good as it'll ever be.
Back to 2030.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not
Not
as
bad.
bad as it could have been.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But I did have 2014 one eye, 2017 in the other when I was young.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's 2020 in one eye, 2030 in the other, which is still good enough to fly.
So
I don't have to see the ground. I have enough experience now. I just feel for it.
So at any point during all this aviation stuff, did anybody ever want you to like quit or not do it anymore?
quit
like
flying?
Quit flying? No.
No.
Okay.
Like who?
Like a wife, a mom, a dad. Like after the accident, nobody was like, okay, you got to stop.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Would you have if they had said so?
No.
No, I didn't think so. You don't strike me as a type that takes orders very well.
Well, if you have a car wreck, you're going to quit driving?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's
Especially
not.
when it's part of your life. It's,
So if you had to approximate, and I think I've asked you this before and you don't know, how many hours do you think you have total in your career as an aviation, as a pilot?
I can tell you almost exactly.
Can you really?
I was going to say, they're probably all logged.
A little
Just
over
about.
8,800.
8,800. Wow.
A little over.
Yeah. So is there anything like on a pilot wish list that you would love to do that you haven't done yet?
There's a couple things I would love to do that I can't do now.
Okay, what are they?
One of them to fly a P-51.
Oh,
I give anything fly a P-50. That's probably the main thing, or a Corsair.
I'll call up Tom. We got Tom Cruise.
No, I'm,
Yeah.
Get him over with this.
I'm too old. I wouldn't do it. I mean,
Would you ride in one?
oh yeah. In fact, Shannon and Brother Bell have one, and I was going to ride in it, and they another partner of theirs flew it into or traxed it into a dumpster and major damage just in Colorado getting fixed. But if they get it fixed, I hope to ride in it.
Okay, so riding in it would maybe check the box for you
A little bit.
a little bit. Not all the way.
Not really.
It's not the same as
Not the
flying it.
same.
Do you remember? Were you at Rec Law the year they brought that P-51 through?
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I mean,
He
one
made
of
a low
the.
pass.
I mean, he couldn't have been 60, 70 feet off the ground.
He was below the trees.
He was absolutely below the trees, and I mean, he's coming through there screaming.
About 300 miles an hour.
Those, the engines in those alone are just works of art. I mean, it's crazy that they were able to build those when they did, and that they put out as much power as they did
At that time, yes.
At
Yeah.
that time, as
12 cylinders, liquid cool.
yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing.
So if you had been given a cell phone, if the cell phones were a thing in Vietnam, do you think you would have been like an internet hit? Like would there have been viral videos made in the airplane?
I'm not sure I got what you're talking
Like if you had a cell phone.
Oh, now, I did make a lot of 8 millimeter stuff.
Did you really in the airplane?
Yeah.
So Ralph is known to be using cameras in the airplane. That's why I was asking.
That's not.
If but
That's
if,
not.
I wasn't going to elaborate.
Here, hold this beer. Watch
Yeah.
this.
So if you had had a cell phone, you definitely would have been able to capture some really cool footage.
Yes,
Yeah, and that's what I thought.
I captured some with the 8mm.
You still have it?
One of my ex-wives stole all that stuff. No, I don't have it.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, but you've been back to Vietnam.
Twice.
I was going to say, and you went recently.
One in 2019 and 2020.
Yeah, so he did go back. You visited where you were stationed?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Okay. So what was that like?
Well, I enjoyed the trip, but it was almost unrecognizable.
Really?
Yes.
Did it change for the good or for not so good?
Well, they okay. The cities in Vietnam are just like I would suppose any Asian city would be now, all high rise and stuff, which wasn't that way when I was there. But out in the rural areas, it hadn't changed much. The only thing that I could see, the major thing that jumped out at me, is when I was there, the houses, the structures, all were thatched and had thatched roofs. Now most of them have corrugated metal roofs, but they're still thatched.
Really?
Yes.
That and they weren't shooting at you this time.
And they weren't shooting at me. That's the only difference I could see, really. And but the airstrips, a lot of the airstrips were aluminum planking, and they as soon as we left, they tore them all up and sold them for scrap. So there's very few small. There's no airports in Vietnam hardly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just the big cities.
Okay.
But when we were there was thousands of them, you know. And I had I found one of the airports that still had some paving, but most of them had long since disappeared. You couldn't even tell where they were.
So it's definitely not a. Is it like a bittersweet sort of thing to go over there and visit, or is it more nostalgic?
Well, it was interesting. Jessica, let me say, we've talked a lot about Vietnam. I'm going to say this because a lot of people might watch this. My experience in Vietnam pales in comparison
To somebody else's.
to a lot of people.
Yeah, right.
I had it the year that I was in my unit in Vietnam. We had one guy got shot
Right.
in the knee, and I didn't know all this at the time, but I found out after I got back. The further south you went in Vietnam, the less intense the combat was.
So when you got back home,
I found out
you found out what was
how good I had it
right.
compared to a lot of others, and especially compared to the infantrymen on the ground, because I worked with them. I did not work with any American infantry. I only worked with Vietnamese, but I know what they did, and so I don't want to portray anything I did as being heroic or outstanding, because it wasn't.
Right.
It pales in comparison to most others.
So, but you didn't have an idea about that till you got back.
Correct. I knew I got shot at every day, but I didn't realize those guys were getting shot at with 37 millimeters and all kinds of stuff. We didn't have any of that.
And there was no way for you to even know what was going on up there.
We had another company 50, 60 miles away. I didn't even know what they did.
Oh, that's crazy.
We had no way to know.
Yeah, there's no way to know. But thinking about it now from a modern mindset, most everybody would have known back now, but back
sure.
then there was no way to know.
Yeah.
And then when you get home and you find out, it's just like, oh my God.
Well, over time, I didn't find out immediately, but
Right.
I'd talk to guys and y'all did what?
Right, right. So the more you found out, the more it was just like, geez, Louise, even though they're shooting at me, I didn't even have it half bad.
The guys up on the DMZ, they really caught it.
Yeah. Well, because, and I'm glad you did tell me that, because there's, with you, anytime I've ever asked you a question, you're willing to answer. But there's some people that won't talk about it at all.
Well, I will. I mean, I had my problems with it, but I'm past all that. They told me a couple of sessions that I have, I still have it, survivor's guilt.
Really?
Yes. There's so many men smarter, better educated, braver, that didn't come home.
Right.
And why did I not did all the stuff I did never got a scratch?
Right.
I mean, it's just not. I don't know how that happened. I'm guilty. I feel bad about that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too.
I lost 2 really good friends. That
Were they from here or just friends you had made
friends
throughout?
I'd made in the Army.
Yeah. And that I think that is a big factor. When I worked at the nursing home, you mentioned your aunt. She was in the nursing home when I worked there. Oscar Lee. Yeah. She anyway, we had a bunch of World War II veterans, and there was one in there that had been on and I'm not a big history buff, so somebody will probably have to name this for me. But in World War II, there was some sort of big water battle that happened.
There were several of them.
He was on one of them, and they didn't get to bring them home. They had to bury them on an island. They had to take them and bury them, and he was tore up about that, and it bothered him. Like it was. Well,
they had no way to save the bodies. They had no refrigeration or anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I remember for whatever reason, and I don't guess I realized how lucky I was for him to tell me that story at the time. I realize it now, but I was in my 20s then, and he was telling me about it. And, he said, we had to take him, we couldn't bring him home, and we had to bury him on that island, and it tore him up, and he had survivor's guilt in a way, not understanding why he made it.
I went to in Vietnam during Vietnam. The next of kin, they had a unit in Oakland and one at Dover Air Force Base, because the bodies came back either West Coast or East Coast. They had a unit that all they did was escort remains, and the next of kin could request a special escort. And one of the guys that I went to flight school with, his wife requested me as a special escort. And the Army did everything they could to accommodate. If they could, they would. I was stationed in Kentucky. They sent me to Oakland to pick him up, and brought him home to Arkadelphia, Arkansas. We got off the plane, DC-9 in Shreveport, went by Hearst up there. And I remember that funeral when the honor guard gave her the flag. I was thinking, my God, that could have been me.
Yeah.
I couldn't help thinking that, and I feel guilty to this day for thinking that. But I did. That's what I thought.
Well, and I think I guess that's kind of why I asked you that, because it's like, you don't think about it at the time. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Sandy, that I worked at the radio station with, he was talking to me one day. He was in Vietnam as well, and he was a crew chief for a helicopter. And he was talking about how, and it's not my story to tell, so I'm not going to retell. I'm not going to retell it the way he would. But essentially, he's like a 19-year-old kid, and they had to fly in, and they were landing while taking fire.
Mm-hmm. All the time they did it.
Yes. And essentially what happened is they crash landed. And he said, he's like, my ears are ringing. We've crashed the helicopter, and I've got to get out of this helicopter and run because we're taking fire. And he was like, I couldn't, my head wasn't straight. I couldn't hear, lots of stuff going on. And then I remember it made me so sad, because it was like, I think about it, because when he was telling me, my son was 20 years old at the time. And I was just like, man, you have no idea at 20 years old, you're saying you're bulletproof, and then you get drafted into this craziness, and then you're taken on fire, and you're crash landing a helicopter and trying to run for your life all at the same time. I can't imagine doing that, and.
Well, those helicopter crew chiefs, they were also door gunners.
Yes.
They had a designated door gunner on one side, and the crew chief was a door gunner on the other side.
Yeah. Well, and I just couldn't imagine doing it. At 20 years old, I could not imagine doing that. I would be, and like you said, when you come home, you find out what everybody's going through. And
my crew chief was 19, but see, they weren't allowed to fly with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think that's probably the hardest thing to reflect on then is, the people that you lost. And
but I just want to make it really clear that all these things I've been talking to you about, I had it really easy.
Good.
Yes. Yeah. I probably didn't miss a hot shower 5 days the whole year I was there.
Oh, then you had it really, really good. Yeah, you had it really good then. Yeah, because there was a lot of stuff going over there at the time, and I think it's the same in modern day when we go to places.
One time, when I first got to Vietnam, I wasn't assigned to. We were assigned to sectors. We were internally called sector pilots. And I didn't have a sector. When I got to Vietnam, I walked in the company and they said, "What? We don't. Not another one. What are you? What?
Why are you here?
Why are you
Everywhere Ralph goes, they don't need him.
Said, well, hell, man, I could
have stayed home.
But what? Because all during my training was, "We got to get you to Vietnam. Got to get you to Vietnam." And I walk in. The first thing he said, "What the hell am I going to do with you?" That's what the. And I said, "Oh man." So anyway. Where was I going with this? Oh, so I just flew like substitute. You know, if a guy was on R&R, I'd go out and cover his. I did that for about 6 weeks before I actually got my sector. And I was flying in this place where Ho Chi Minh was born, as a matter of fact. I was flying in that sector. And this, like I said, I only worked with Vietnamese ground troops, but all the Vietnamese units had American advisors. I only talked to the advisors. And this lieutenant advisor got killed. And I had to fly around out there all day looking at that lieutenant, looking up at me and the rice paddy dead. And to make it worse, see, I wasn't based there. I was just temporary there. I had to sleep in his bed that night. His only available bed was his with pictures all around and all.
Oh, no.
That to this day bothers me.
So did you have to, like, you go report where he's at so they can go get him?
No, they knew. I mean, there's a battle going on. I mean, they just couldn't get to him.
They couldn't get to him. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that. I can't imagine having to go through that.
Well, it was bad. I didn't like it.
Yeah. So you didn't pick up any Vietnamese?
What do you mean, pick them up?
Like pick up the language. The language.
Not the women. The language.
We're not talking about that.
No, we're not. No, I wouldn't set you up like that. No, I'm like, you didn't pick up the language any?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Dinky Dow, Lade, a little bit.
A little bit.
Not
Okay.
much. Not much.
Yeah.
Dinky Dow's crazy. Yeah. I die where you Dinky Dow. A little bit. Interesting. Okay, I'm out of my pay grade here. But in Vietnamese, a lot of the Vietnamese words that mean different things sound the same to us or to me. But you see Vietnamese written, those little marks they have, has different pronunciations, but I don't. But Nuc Da and Nuc Dai, one D-A and one D-I. One means ice and one means urine.
Oh.
So you go into a bar, Nuc Da, want ice in your beer, in your drink, but you're actually saying urine.
You don't want to get those mixed
And all
up.
the Vietnamese girls laughing at you,
That'd be a terrible one to get mixed up.
That's my story.
Well, what would you like to see in the next, which, I know you're not here anymore. I know you don't live here anymore, but this is your home. This will always be your home.
Always be my home.
What would you like to see in the future for Leesville, Vernon Parish?
Well, like I say, same as I wanted to see when I was mayor, just growth and infrastructure and a government that worked for the people.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's a feasible answer.
I would like to see more jobs, but that's not going to happen. Other than Fort Polk and Timber, there'll never be any jobs here. And anybody that thinks different is delusional.
Why do you say that?
Why would they be here? What you going to do?
I don't know.
There aren't any.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest.
Either Fort Polk or something to do with Fort Polk, or timber or something to do with timber. That's the only thing we don't have any oil. We don't have. There's nothing here.
It's a hurdle because we don't have. We have a lot of natural resources, timber, water, things like that. But as far as anything else, we just don't have it. And we're in middle America, so
there's no opportunity for a young person that doesn't have family opportunity like I was fortunate to have. There's just nothing for them to do here.
Right.
They're going to make a living. They got to go someplace else.
Yeah, and that's the sad part is we raise up some really good kids, and send them out and they're gone. You know, we raise up smart kids and then they leave.
Then World War II, they used to be a joke about the Cajuns. You know, when the Cajuns die, they don't want to go to heaven. They want to go to Port Arthur.
Yeah.
That's where the jobs were.
So you had your family. They're here. Did any of your kids become aviation enthusiasts?
None.
But now you have a granddaughter in the Air Force.
Not anymore.
Not any. Okay, but she did go to but not for pilot.
She went to the Air Force Academy, but she is in the academy now.
Oh, okay. So nobody took on the aviation. Wow, that's kind of unusual.
Well, I wanted them to, but they just weren't interested.
Galen's the same way. He tries to push Paisley, you know, and she doesn't have any amount of interest in it whatsoever.
I had a granddaughter. I didn't mean like that. That expressed an interest in it not too long ago. And then when I started telling her, "Oh, I have to give up my friends," because I told her she was in college. She's out of college now, but I told her you can't just go out there and you got to be dedicated to it.
Yeah,
and at least twice a week, you know. And well, I have to give up some of my activities. I said, well, yeah. So she's very social, you know. She's a beautiful girl, and she's very sociable. So she said, well, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. Yeah, Paisley just has no interest in flying the airplane or any of that, you know. No, and it's just well, and admittedly, I don't know if Galen's ever told any of y'all this. Before he had taken one commercial flight in his whole life, and he hated it.
Before he started flying? Really?
He came in, he did not like flying. He came in, and I really don't know what prompted this. You know, he drove race cars, and I'm not going to say he got too old to do that, because he's not too old to do that. But I think he had just kind of outgrown it.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, in a way. And he was maybe seeking a new adrenaline, you know, because he likes adrenaline, you know, he likes to do stuff. And he just came in my office one day, and he's like, "I'm going to buy a bush plane." I said, "A bush plane?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to learn how to fly a bush plane, and I'm going to buy a bush plane." And I was just like, okay. I was like, "You don't like flying?" And he was like, "I'm going to learn how to fly." And it just went from there. But he had been on one commercial flight in his entire life before then. And he just, in his 50s, decided he was going to fly airplanes.
I don't like commercial flights.
He said he didn't like, you know, he said, "I remember, I knew there was nothing under my feet, and I didn't like it."
Well, I don't like, you get on a commercial flight, you don't know if the pilot was drunk. Yeah. You know? And a lot of them, when they're away from home, a lot of them drink heavily because there's what else to do, right? And you don't know anything about that. And they don't fly anymore.
No, that thing's flying itself.
They just manage computers. And I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, he was, he just was
the control thing.
Yeah, and the more you learn about the electronic systems, I never had any problem with it flying commercially and all that. And then when I built that simulator for my dad for the SR-22 and started getting on that and started getting really more into the aviation stuff, about that time, there was that chopper that got hit with the
indeed, over the Potomac.
Yeah. And that was like a rare, because there's so many systems in the plane that are supposed to prevent things like that, but it was in the one blind spot that what is it, the AWAS, or I can't remember the system name that detects traffic around and all that.
ADSB?
No.
They're all acronyms. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, and so after that, you know, I've just been a little finicky. If I noticed, especially when we were down, you know, flying into the islands and stuff for, like my work sent me on a trip down there a couple of years ago, and I remember we were flying in, you know, and we're landing in St. Martin, and that island's a one-shot kind of deal. I mean, they have a big runway, and so you fly a 737 down in there, but we're coming into land, and all of a sudden we go full throttle, steep nose up, nothing on, you know, from the pilots or anything till we get way back up in the air. And I mean, he, you know, we booked it back up. Well, it turns out there was an animal on the runway, but, you know, around that area, there's so many small planes, and you're kind of relying on people to communicate.
The same issue. I watch a lot of those YouTube video, Juan Brown and Hoover and those guys, and you see these guys flying these very sophisticated jets with 300-400 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as a comparison, when I got out of the Army at the end of towards the end of Vietnam, well, actually it was over, but I got out and it was effectively over. We hadn't officially quit, but we were in the process of quitting. And there was literally thousands of pilots released on the civilian market. And it was very, very difficult to get an airline job or any kind of flying job. When I got out of the Army, I had almost 4,000 hours, had a lot of instrument time and a lot of multi-engine time, and I couldn't get a job. I tried hard, and I couldn't get a job. And then I read about these guys making these stupid mistakes with 200-300 hours, 500 hours. And I'm thinking, man, stupid stuff, stalling in the traffic, stalling a jet in the traffic pattern because it turned too slow. And I mean, it's just stupid stuff. But anyway.
When I had that simulator, when I built that simulator for Dad, he was on it, and I got this plug-in called Pilot Talk or something, and it's for simulator flying, but you talk to real people on ATC. So they actually staff people who are air traffic control for inside the simulator.
Oh, really?
And so we tried it out, and he gets on, and he doesn't announce his landing. He doesn't request to land at this airport. And sure enough, this ATC girl gets on there and starts scolding him immediately, like, you didn't ask permission to land, And he goes, well, yes. I don't know. He said something like she wouldn't be able to know what he's doing. And she got on his ass, and he said, unplug it, and just shut it down. So we shut it down. He never used it again. He was like, I don't want to do that.
The inexperienced pilots is going to get worse because they're just the pipeline is that they need them more than now. It's slowed down right now.
Yeah.
A few years ago, they'd hire by damn near anybody.
Yeah, and that was kind of a concern of mine. And then too, the medical thing has been kind of a concern of mine too. That new thing they did with the medical certificate. What did they do with that?
What are you talking about? You about the mental stuff?
No, it was just a basic med.
Oh, basic med, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, basic med. Your dad did mine. You go to any licensed physician, and basically, if you walk in under your own power and you can see, well, you're good,
Right. I that kind of concerned me, because, and I get it. There's some people,
but they have limitations for that. You can't. That don't entitle you to do everything.
Right.
You can't carry more than 2 passengers. You can't. There's a lot of stuff you can't do on basic med. You can't fly for hire.
Yeah. I guess it just to me it was just like, okay, well, I don't know, that made it a little too lenient, but I knew that they were kind of relaxing.
And you can't get a basic med if you don't have a FAA medical.
Right.
In other words, if you let your FAA medical expire, which you get from a designated FAA doctor, if you let that expire more than 2 years, you can't get basic med until you go back and get a
FAA medical.
Yeah, and then you can get basic med.
Yeah, and to anyone listening who might have an irrational fear of flying, commercial flights are still one of the safest possible
Safest
things you
mode
could
of travel
do.
on the planet.
Safest thing you can do. Things that aren't safe: private pilot, motorcycle, dirt track racing, all the things.
Yeah, all those things. Yeah,
So.
that you think are completely safe.
That's what I have to remind myself sometimes.
Boats. Yeah, boats is
Jet
a big
skis.
one.
Jet skis.
Jet skis is a big one. Yeah, all safer than, and a lot of people like
Orders of magnitude more dangerous than commercial airlines. All
Commercial
those things.
aviation
Yep.
flying is one of the safest mode of travel there is.
You'd be surprised how many people are under the impression that if you have an engine out, you just fall out of the sky like a rock.
Right.
And
Even in a helicopters auto rotate. I mean, you probably have
it's
a little
bit, yeah, it's
more,
a little harder.
but they do sort of glide in a way.
Correct. Well, and
true.
I was one of those people. I was just like, oh, well, if the engine goes out, you just, and then when I started learning, I was like, oh, they got plenty of time to.
Well, the thing about a helicopter is a single engine helicopter is that, yes, if the engine quits, you can't auto rotate, but you, unlike an airplane, you have no choice. You're going to land right there.
Right.
Right. You do go down.
And if right there is not a good place to land, it's tough.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in an airplane, like in my airplane, it's a 10 to 1. If I'm 1,000 feet high, I can go 10,000 feet.
Right.
I'm not worried about mechanical failures on the plane, engine failure. The only two things that I'm concerned about in planes are collisions with other aircraft because of miscommunication
Yeah.
and like bird strikes.
Bird
And
strikes.
Bird
Bird
strikes are
strikes on
dangerous.
takeoff.
Yeah.
Most of those jets, and I'm talking way out of my pay grade, I've only got a license in one jet, and that was a long time ago. Most of them, if you lose an engine on takeoff, all you have to do is just shallow your climb.
Right.
You're still climbing. You're just not climbing as steep.
Right. Right.
But if you're under if you're under a certain altitude and you if you bird strike right as you're taking it, there is a kind of a point where you're a little bit screwed.
Well, in one engine,
it's a short.
If you're bird striking two engines,
Yeah.
like what's his name, Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name, Sullivan?
Sully,
Sully,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah, Sully.
He got on both engines. But you bird strike in one engine, it's just like losing an engine. You just come back around and land.
Right.
But yeah, with two engines, that's batting 1,000 there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ralph has to fly back to his home. I appreciate you being here so much.
I enjoyed
Yes, thank you
it.
so
I
much.
was I didn't know what you were going to ask me, but you didn't ask me anything hard.
No,
Too
no.
hard.
I had told you. Well, other than making you go back in the Rolodex. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I've wanted to have you on here for a long time. So you usually tell Galen, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna ask this person to come, and then I remember I reached out to Candace and I was like, hey, if I asked Ralph to come on the podcast, you think he would come? And she was like, yes, he would come. So I finally just texted you and asked you.
Well, I'll probably get halfway home and think, I wish I'd have said this, or I wish I'd have said that.
Well, don't worry, we're gonna have you back.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm surprised or basically amazed at is anyone would care.
Oh yeah.
That's what. But who wants to know?
Well, I mean, we want to know.
Why?
Well, because you're okay.
I
So
don't understand it.
Because we respect and we want to learn from our elders.
yeah. Well, you're also part of Vernon Parish history. I think you forget that.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think sometimes when you are the history, you forget that.
I guess,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's part of it.
Elected mayor twice. So people had enough confidence in me to elect me mayor twice.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to remember that. And I mean, you're also a part of our U.S. history, however small that part is.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
true. That's true.
you're part of our American history. And I think it's really cool to be able to sit down and talk to people.
Yeah. And thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Well, as long as you understand, it pales in comparison.
Well, look, it doesn't matter. You that's nothing you had control over, and we needed every single person, to do their job, and you did it. So
I'll say this about the medal system in Vietnam. It was the most people that, I'm not saying everyone that has medals doesn't deserve them. I'm not saying that at all. But many, many people deserve a lot of medals in Vietnam they didn't get.
Yeah.
And many people got them that didn't deserve them.
Yeah.
They would come down with allocations. Okay, you got to a unit. Okay, you got 4 ARCOMs this month. Find somebody to give them to. Like that. That wasn't right.
Yeah, if you were going to get one for a piece of plexiglass in your neck, they was being a little too frivolous, wasn't they?
You could sprain your ankle. on an assault, if you sprained your ankle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it counts.
Yeah,
it counts.
yeah,
It
sure.
counts. It counts.
Yeah.
But you have to remember too. Like I said, you're part of Vernon Parish history and U.S. history.
I went to visit a friend some years ago. Actually, it was one of my ex-platoon leaders, and his wife said, "Oh, go look at Gary's Purple Heart." And he started crying. He didn't want me to know he had one.
Oh.
That son of a bitch wasn't injured. But he got one of them John Kerry Purple Hearts.
He got a Purple Heart.
And he didn't want me to know it.
He didn't want you to know about it. Yeah.
that's when you hit him with the, oh no, I declined mine.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was declining.
Right.
Well, I guess it worked out in the best interest for you, because then now if you had it, you'd be like, oh my God, I got that.
I wouldn't want anybody to know it.
You wouldn't want.
If I had it, I dang sure wouldn't wear it.
Well,
Yeah, but anyway.
we appreciate you being here very much.
We do.
And I'm going to have you back on here one day.
Okay.
Yeah. I look forward to having you back on
I've
here
told you
one day.
everything I know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There may be some more stuff in there.
Not much.
Yeah. All right. That'll wrap it up for this episode of Locally Hated. You guys stay tuned for the next episode.